Your brain doesn't forget on its own. A doctor's warning after 30 years. Treating aging muscles and minds. Can I ask you something a little personal? Have you ever walked into a room and forgotten why you were there, or stood in the kitchen, holding a spoon, with no idea what you were about to eat? You're not alone. But here's the thing. Most doctors won't say out loud, your brain doesn't forget on its own, and your body doesn't weaken overnight. It starts quietly, in your plate, in your pantry, even in your breakfast choices. After more than 30 years treating older Americans for memory loss and muscle decline, I can tell you this. It's not just about age. It's about what's silently building up or breaking down in your daily routine. The National Institute on Aging has warned the foods we eat every day can either protect our brain or slowly sabotage it long before symptoms show. So let me be clear, this isn't fear. This is awareness. If you've ever struggled to recall a familiar name, if your legs feel a little weaker getting out of bed each morning, then this message is for you. Leave a comment below. Just type 1. If you've ever experienced that odd little moment of brain fog, or 0 if you're one of the lucky ones still sharp every day. I'd love to hear from you. And if this hits close to home, tap that subscribe button because your brain matters and you deserve answers that heal, not scare. Number 1, Mediterranean versus mind diet, which truly protects your brain. Can I tell you a story that still stays with me, even after all these years? Her name was Marie, 71 years old, kind eyes, retired school teacher from Kentucky. She came to my clinic complaining of memory slips. Nothing major, just forgetting a few appointments. Burning toast twice in a week, repeating a story to her daughter. But what worried her wasn't the memory. It was the feeling that her muscles were getting softer, that climbing stairs was harder, that her body was slowing down, and her brain was trying to follow. Marie had always believed that memory loss was just a part of aging. But something inside her said, maybe there's more I can do. So I asked her a simple question. What do you eat for dinner most nights? Her answer, white bread, buttered pasta, maybe some canned soup. Nothing unusual, but nothing that protected her brain either. That's when I introduced Marie to the mind diet and what I want to introduce you to right now. Let's break it down gently. Together, what is the Mediterranean diet? The Mediterranean diet comes from the eating patterns of countries like Greece and Italy. It focuses on fresh fruits and vegetables, olive oil, nuts, whole grains, and fish. It limits red meat, processed foods, and added sugars. According to the Harvard School of Public Health, people who follow this diet have a 20 to 40% lower risk of cognitive decline and stroke. That's not a small number. That's your brain staying sharper, longer. What is the MIND diet? The MIND diet stands for Mediterranean Dash Intervention for Neurodegenerative Delay. It's a combination of the Mediterranean and Dash diets with one clear goal: protecting your brain from Alzheimer's disease. The MIND diet encourages green leafy vegetables like spinach and kale at least 6 times per week. Berries, especially blueberries, at least twice per week. Whole grains daily. Fish once a week. Olive oil is the main cooking fat. But it's not just what you eat, it's what you avoid, like butter, fried food, cheese, and those sugar-heavy desserts. In a 2015 study published in Alzheimer's and Dementia, people who closely followed the MIND diet had a 53% lower risk of developing Alzheimer's. 53%. That's more than one half. That's not a trend, that's a breakthrough. Why diet matters more than you think. Most people think memory decline happens only in the brain, but it starts everywhere. your blood vessels and your hormones, your muscles. And what you eat 3 times a day affects them all. Berries protect your neurons. Leafy greens reduce inflammation. Omega-3 fatty acids from fish strengthen cell walls. Whole grains stabilize blood sugar. Every bite is either fuel or fire. But doctor, what about supplements? It's a fair question, and here's my honest answer. Most over-the-counter brain supplements haven't been proven to prevent dementia. WebMD and the National Institute on Aging both warn that many of these products make promises without science, but the Mind Diet, it's backed by real data, real food, real change. Back to Marie. After 6 months of small, steady changes, one blueberry smoothie at a time, Marie wasn't just remembering more. She was walking more, cooking again, laughing more. Her muscle tone improved, her blood pressure dropped, and best of all, she felt like herself again. That's the real power of food, not just nutrients, but hope. Let me ask you this. Have you tried the Mediterranean or Mind Diet before? Or is this the first time you're hearing about it? Drop your answer in the comments. Just right. Tried it or new to me? Let's learn from each other, because sometimes the first step isn't a prescription. It's a plate. Number 2, the hidden villains on your plate. Foods that slowly kill your memory. Let's be honest. Most people don't think of what's on their plate as dangerous, but some of the most harmful threats to your memory aren't found in a hospital. They're found in your kitchen cabinet, in your breakfast toast, in that cup of flavored yogurt you eat at night, and I say this with care because I've seen it too many times. Patients who felt sharp until they didn't, who were walking fine, until their legs gave out, and when we traced back the timeline, their diet was quietly working against them. So let's name the villains. And do it clearly. 1. Processed sugar, the sweet saboteur. A Harvard Health study confirmed that high sugar intake leads to inflammation in the brain, especially in the hippocampus, which is essential for memory. When you eat processed sugar, especially in cereals, sodas, or flavored yogurts, it causes blood sugar spikes, followed by crashes. These swings damage brain cells over time and lead to insulin resistance, not just in your body, but in your brain. That's why many experts now call Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes. Think of it this way. A single cinnamon roll from a popular bakery chain. It can contain over 23 grams of added sugar. That's nearly 6 teaspoons. That's like pouring syrup on your brain before breakfast. 2. Excess sodium, the silent sweller. Salt isn't evil, but in large amounts, it silently stiffens your blood vessels. According to the CDC, the average American eats over 400 milligrams of sodium per day, nearly 50% more than the recommended maximum. Why does this matter for your brain? Because high sodium increases blood pressure, and high blood pressure weakens blood flow to your brain's delicate tissues. That's when memory starts slipping, and muscles don't get the oxygen they need. Here's the twist. Most sodium isn't from your salt shaker. It's from packaged soups, deli meats, and frozen dinners. Read that label on the can of low-fat chicken noodle soup? You'll be shocked. 3. Saturated fat, the memory blocker. Foods high in saturated fat like bacon, sausage, full-fat cheese, and fried foods may taste comforting, but they don't comfort your brain. They thicken your blood. They increase LDL cholesterol, the kind that clogs arteries, including the ones feeding your brain. A study from the Mayo Clinic found that older adults who consumed high saturated fat diets were twice as likely to develop mild cognitive impairment. Twice as likely. Let that sink in. 4. Ultra-processed foods, the everyday danger. These are the chips, crackers, energy bars, and boxed meals that line every grocery aisle. They're cheap, they're easy, and they're dangerous because they often contain additives, preservatives, and synthetic compounds that can trigger inflammation throughout your body. And chronic inflammation is the fire that burns both brain and muscle from the inside out. Researchers at the University of Sao Paulo followed over 10,000 adults and found that those who consumed more than 1/2 of their daily calories from ultra-processed foods had a 25% faster decline in executive function, the part of your brain responsible for planning, decision-making, and focus. So what can you do? You don't need to throw everything out today, but you do need to become aware. Start by replacing sugary cereal with steel-cut oats and blueberries, canned soup with homemade broth and herbs, snack crackers with nuts or apple slices, soda with water or herbal tea. One swap at a time. Let me ask you honestly, do you have any of these villains in your fridge or pantry right now? It's okay if you do. Just write yes in the comments and tell me which one. We're here to learn, not judge. Because recognizing the enemy is the first step toward healing. Number 3, why most brain supplements are a waste of money and may even be dangerous. Let's talk about something I know many of you have wondered. Those little bottles on the drugstore shelf with labels like memory booster, brain sharpener, or natural cognitive support. They look promising, they sound hopeful, and sometimes, when you feel your memory slipping, it's tempting to reach for one. But here's the truth, and it's not easy to say. Most over-the-counter brain supplements are a waste of your money. And worse, some could be quietly harming your health. The illusion of quick fix pills. The idea that you can reverse memory loss with a single pill is comforting. But science, it doesn't back it up. According to the National Institutes of Health, there's no strong evidence that popular supplements like ginkgo biloba, fish oil capsules, or vitamin E significantly improve brain function in older adults. WebMD goes further. They warn that many memory supplements are not even regulated for safety or effectiveness. The FDA does not test supplements the way it tests medications. So what ends up on your shelf could be filled with nothing but promises and sometimes hidden risks. What are the risks? It's not just about wasting money. Some brain supplements interact with common medications. They can raise blood pressure, thin your blood, or affect your heart rhythm. The FDA has issued warnings about supplements that secretly contain prescription drugs unlabeled and undisclosed. In fact, between 2007 and 2016, the FDA identified 796 products marketed as dietary supplements that were tainted with pharmaceuticals, including some for memory and focus. And many of those were sold online without a single doctor's oversight. Now, imagine that entering a brain already vulnerable from aging, blood pressure, or early-stage memory decline. That's not help. That's harm. But what about natural ingredients? This is where it gets tricky. Just because something is natural doesn't mean it's safe or effective. Hemlock is natural. So is arsenic. Even commonly marketed herbs like St. John's wort or ginseng can interfere with medications or increase anxiety. Natural doesn't equal harmless. Natural doesn't equal proven. The real brain boosters, not in a pill. So what does work? Here's what the science. Real science tells us. Eating a balanced diet like the Mind Diet. Daily movement, even gentle walks. managing blood pressure and blood sugar, staying mentally and socially engaged, getting consistent, quality sleep. A 2020 study from the Alzheimer's Association found that older adults who followed these combined lifestyle steps had up to 60% lower risk of developing cognitive decline without taking a single supplement. That's 60%, not from a bottle, but from habits. So, what should you do? If you're taking a supplement now, don't panic, but ask yourself, is it backed by credible research? Do I know all its ingredients? Has my doctor reviewed it? And most importantly, is it replacing better habits? Because no pill, no matter how expensive, can replace a healthy lifestyle. Let me ask you this. Have you ever bought a brain supplement hoping it would help? If yes, drop a yes in the comments. And if you're not sure what's in your bottle, tell me the name and I'll walk you through it in a future video. You deserve clarity. You deserve protection. You deserve a brain care plan that's rooted in truth, not marketing. Number 4, your brain on olive oil, the surprising power of healthy fats. Let me ask you something most people never consider. What kind of oil do you use to cook your breakfast eggs? Is it butter, vegetable oil, or something else? Because the type of fat you consume each day doesn't just affect your waistline, it affects your memory. And if you've never thought of olive oil as brain medicine, you're not alone. But maybe after today, you'll never look at it the same way again. Healthy fats. Build a better brain. Your brain is made up of nearly 60% fat, not sugar, not protein, fat, and not just any fat. It needs healthy fats, the kind that support cell membranes, reduce inflammation, and keep communication between neurons flowing smoothly. That's where extra virgin olive oil comes in. The Harvard study that changed everything. A major study published by Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health followed more than 90,000 Americans over 28 years. They found that individuals who consumed at least 1/2 tablespoon of olive oil per day had a 29% lower risk of dying from neurodegenerative disease, a 19% lower risk of death from heart disease, and better cognitive performance scores compared to those who rarely used olive oil. That's 1/2 tablespoon, just enough to coat a salad or drizzle over eggs. Why olive oil works, unlike butter or vegetable oils high in saturated fats and omega-6s. Olive oil is rich in monounsaturated fats and powerful antioxidants like oleocanthal and vitamin E. These compounds reduce brain inflammation, the kind linked to Alzheimer's, stroke, and cognitive decline. Think of olive oil as WD-40 for your brain. It keeps things smooth, prevents rust, and slows wear and tear. It doesn't clog, it doesn't harden, it supports flow. Olive oil versus butter, a clear winner. Let's do a quick comparison. Butter 1, TBSP, olive oil 1, TBSP 7 grams of saturated fat, 2 grams of saturated fat. No antioxidants, rich in antioxidants, raises LDL cholesterol, lowers LDL and boosts HDL. In other words, one clogs, the other clears. Butter may taste familiar, but olive oil helps you remember familiar things. Olive oil and Alzheimer's prevention. According to the National Institute on Aging, inflammation and oxidative stress are two of the biggest drivers of age-related cognitive decline. Olive oil directly targets both. In animal studies, mice fed a diet rich in extra virgin olive oil showed better learning ability and memory performance, and reduced buildup of amyloid plaques, the hallmarks of Alzheimer's. Now, we always have to be cautious when translating animal results to humans, But when you combine those findings with large human studies like the Harvard one, the message is clear. Olive oil isn't just food, it's protection, how to use it safely. Not all olive oils are the same. To get the benefits, choose extra virgin olive oil, look for cold pressed. Store it in a cool, dark place. Use it for salad dressings, dips, and low to medium heat cooking. Avoid high heat frying, it breaks down the good fats. And remember, a little goes a long way. Quick question for you. When was the last time you used olive oil instead of butter? If it's been a while, maybe tomorrow's a good time to start. Comment. Olives start below. If you're willing to try this simple swap, just 1/2 tablespoon a day for a sharper mind and a lighter heart. Because when it comes to your brain, every drop matters. Number 5, the 5-day brain reset plan. A simple start at any age. By now, you've learned about the foods that hurt your brain and the ones that heal it. But maybe you're wondering, how do I even start? Because changing lifelong eating habits can feel overwhelming, especially if you're over 60, or dealing with memory issues, or just tired of trying another health plan that doesn't stick. That's why I created this 5-day brain reset plan. Simple, gentle, and completely doable, even if your energy isn't what it used to be. No gimmicks, no expensive groceries. Just 5 days. 5 steps. Each one building on the next. Let's walk through it together. Day 1, clean the sneaky saboteurs. Start small. Go to your fridge and pantry. Look for 3 things. Sugary breakfast cereals. Packaged snacks with more than 5 grams of added sugar. Anything that says low fat but has a long list of ingredients. Remove just one of them. Not everything. Just one. Why? Because the more chemicals and hidden sugars in your food, the more inflammation you're feeding your brain. This is step 1 awareness. Day 2, add 1. Brain boosting food. Pick one of the following and add it to your lunch or dinner. A handful of walnuts. 1 cup of spinach or kale. 1/2 cup of blueberries. 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil. That's it. No pressure. Just one food. You're not changing your entire diet. You're adding something healing without removing anything yet. This is step 2, addition before subtraction. Day 3, gentle movement right after meals, after lunch or dinner. Walk for 5 to 10 minutes, just around your house, or to the mailbox, or down the hallway and back. Why? Because gentle movement right after eating helps regulate blood sugar and reduces the stress your brain experiences from glucose spikes. Even 5 minutes can improve how your body and brain respond to food. This is step 3, motion after nourishment. Day 4, hydrate your brain. Today, set a reminder to drink 1 extra glass of water in the morning and 1 in the afternoon. Your brain is about 75% water, and even mild dehydration can impair focus, memory, and mood. Forget 8 glasses a day. Start with 2 extra glasses, spaced out. If you're already drinking water, add a pinch of sea salt or a squeeze of lemon for better mineral balance. This is step 4. Fuel the brain's foundation. Day 5. 1 hour without screens before bed. Tonight, give your brain a break. Turn off your TV, phone, or tablet 1 hour before sleep. Use that time to journal 1 good memory from the day. Listen to soft music. Lightly stretch. Or just breathe. The blue light from screens disrupts melatonin, your brain's natural sleep hormone, and poor sleep affects memory, emotion, and even muscle repair. This is step 5. Protect the brain's recovery zone. The power of 5. 5 days. 5 steps. Not a diet, not a challenge, just a reset. If you feel better at the end of 5 days, keep going. If you miss a step, no guilt. Just try again tomorrow. Because of small changes, done with intention, build long-term strength. So tell me this, which of the 5 steps feels easiest to start with? Comment below step 1, step 2, or the one you're ready to try first. Your answer might inspire someone else who's just starting. 2. Remember, you're not behind. You're exactly on Tim. Number 6. The silent link between blood pressure and brain shrinkage. Can I ask you something that most doctors don't talk about? Have you ever wondered why your memory gets a little foggier, even though your brain scans look normal? Why do your legs feel weaker, but your heart sounds fine? The truth is, your brain might be shrinking, and you might not even know it. What is brain shrinkage? As we age, it's normal for the brain to lose a little volume, but in some cases, it shrinks faster than it should. This isn't about memory loss alone. It's about physical changes inside your skull, the slow disappearance of brain tissue that once held your memories, your balance, your focus. And one of the biggest and most overlooked causes, high blood pressure. Blood pressure in your brain. The missing connection. Most people know that high blood pressure affects the heart, but fewer know what it does to the brain. Here's the biology. When blood pressure is consistently high, the force of blood against artery walls increases. Over time, this damages small blood vessels, including the tiny capillaries that feed your brain. As those vessels stiffen or narrow, less oxygen and nutrients reach key parts of your brain, especially the white matter, which controls coordination, decision-making, and movement, according to the National Institute of Neurological Disorders and Stroke. This type of damage is directly linked to brain atrophy, or shrinkage. And the worst part, it's silent. No warning signs, no obvious symptoms, until you forget where you put your car keys, or miss a step going downstairs. What the research says. A major study from the Lancet Neurology Journal found that people in their 60s with systolic blood pressure over 140 had significantly more brain shrinkage than those with well-managed blood pressure. Let me say that again. Just having your top number, the systolic above 140, increases the rate of brain loss. And that loss isn't reversible. It's permanent. But it is preventable. What can you do? The first step is knowing your numbers. Check your blood pressure regularly, not just at the doctor's office. Consider a home monitor. Aim for readings around 120/80, unless advised otherwise by your physician. Then take simple daily actions. Reduce sodium no more than 1/500 milligrams per day. Increase potassium, eat bananas, spinach, sweet potatoes. Walk daily, even just 10 minutes. Sleep consistently. Avoid hidden stressors like too much caffeine or late night screens. Each of these habits may seem small, but together, they're like building a stronger pipeline to your brain. And when blood flows, well, memory follows. Brain shrinkage feels like. It's easy to miss the signs. You stand up too fast and feel dizzy. You can't remember why you opened the fridge. You stumble on words that used to come easily. You walk slower without realizing it. That's not just aging. That's your brain asking for more blood, more oxygen, more care. Let me ask you this. When was the last time you checked your blood pressure at home? If you have a monitor, check today. if you don't consider getting one? And tell me in the comments, do you know your average reading? Or is it time for a new habit? Because blood pressure is more than a heart number. It's your brain's lifeline. Number 7, it's just aging. The biggest lie about memory loss. Have you ever been told it's just part of getting older? Maybe when you forgot a name, or couldn't find the right word mid-sentence, or walked into a room and stood there blank, and maybe you even believed it. But I'm here after 3 decades of working with older adults to tell you the truth. Memory loss is not inevitable, and believing it is might be the very thing holding you back, the lie that keeps us silent. We've been conditioned to accept that forgetting is normal after 60. We laugh it off. Call it a senior moment. Try to hide it from your family, but deep down, there's fear. And sometimes, shame. Here's what makes this so dangerous. When people believe a memory loss is normal, they delay asking for help. They wait too long. And by the time they seek answers, it's harder to reverse. That's the true harm of this belief. It creates silence. And silence lets disease grow. What science actually says, let me be clear, yes, the brain changes with age. Processing speed slows slightly. It might take a little longer to learn something new, but massive memory decline is not a normal part of aging. According to the National Institute on Aging, conditions like Alzheimer's, vascular dementia, and mild cognitive impairment are diseases, not inevitable aging. And just like with heart disease or diabetes, they often show early signs long before diagnosis. Things like losing track of the date or time, asking the same question over and over, struggling to follow a familiar recipe, getting lost in familiar places. These aren't just senior moments, they're messages, signals, red flags that your brain needs support. What can you do? First, let go of shame. You're not failing, you're noticing, and that's powerful. Second, get curious. Ask your doctor about cognitive screening. It's a simple conversation, and it could lead to early support while the brain is still plastic, still capable of healing. Third, take action. Every part of your lifestyle can either feed your memory or drain it. We've already talked about eating whole foods like in the Mind diet, moving gently after meals, drinking water consistently, sleeping screen-free, managing blood pressure. But the biggest shift, believing that your brain is still capable, that your best days haven't passed, that memory loss is not your fate unless you let it be. Memory is a muscle. It needs use. It needs rest. It needs nourishment. But most of all, it needs belief. The belief that aging isn't about fading away. It's about becoming more focused on what matters. And nothing matters more than protecting your mind. Let me ask you gently, have you ever brushed off a memory slip by saying, I'm just getting older? If yes, that's okay. You're not alone. But today, right now, you can choose a new story. Comment below. I believe in my brain, because it starts with that. Not a supplement, not a scan, but a belief that healing is still possible. Let's pause for a moment. You've learned a lot today, not just about memory loss, but about what's possible, what's still within your control. And sometimes, that's the hardest part to believe, that something as simple as what we put on our plate could shape how clearly we remember a name, or how confidently we walk into a room, or whether we stay independent just a few years longer. But it's true, and I've seen it again and again in my clinic. in research and in real lives. One decision, one plate, one brain. You don't need to do everything. You just need to do something. Today, it might be switching butter for olive oil. Tomorrow, it might be adding blueberries to your morning oats. Next week, maybe it's walking 5 minutes after dinner. These small choices are not small. They are brain saving because memory is not lost overnight, and healing doesn't happen in a day, but it begins with a single decision, a single forkful, a single act of care. So, tomorrow, what will you choose? What will you eat that protects your memory? Will it be a bowl of blueberries, a handful of walnuts, a plate of spinach with dinner? Your next meal can be your next memory protector, and that choice is entirely yours. I'd love to hear from you. Comment below with one food you're planning to eat tomorrow for your brain. Just write tomorrow, I choose, and finish the sentence. It's not just about food, it's about intention, and your words might inspire someone else to begin. And if you want to go deeper into the healing foods that science supports, then don't miss our next video. Berries and green leafy vegetables help slow memory loss. We'll explore what makes them powerful and how just a few servings per week might keep your brain sharp longer than you think. Subscribe so we don't lose touch, because protecting your brain starts with remembering to show up for it.